Hello, everyone. So, another lucid dream this morning that didn't make any sense, but it might make sense to you. It was a colored gentleman, a black gentleman, that was in a car accident. His head hit the windshield, and his head didn't go through the windshield, but it created, those circles. And that's what I saw. When he came back, I saw the imprint in the windshield. It was pretty wild. And then I saw his face, but I didn't recognize his face. He was probably, I don't know. He was he was like in his 50s, late 40s. It's hard to tell, right? But I just saw his face very, very quickly. Very light, not light, but short hair. Almost shaved, but it was enough. And yeah, so if it means anything, if you know of anyone, it was something that came this morning. Okay, so I was listening to Neville Goddard, and today we're going to be talking about the power of your thoughts. And it's something that's been covered by so many people for centuries. Neville Goddard being one of them from the 1930s, 1940s. And I was listening to what he was saying, and I thought, gosh, that's identical to what I was given during my first near-death experience in 1992 in Vancouver, BC. And that was that you have to assess your thoughts. You have to actually monitor your thoughts and be cognitive of them, be aware of them. And as you are assessing your thoughts, you have to weigh them and go, is this a good thought or not a good thought? If it's not a good thought, you crumple it up, throw it in that cosmic garbage can, right? This was what was given to me, that there was a cosmic garbage can that you can actually, crumple your thoughts like piece of paper and throw them up and put them into the basketball hoop in the sky, and creator gathers those thoughts, gathers that energy and transforms it into something beautiful, bright, like, love and joy and prosperity and abundance and, everything that's good in this world. So I wanted to actually look at my book. This is called The 5 Lessons of Life. I've never done any advertising for it. This is probably the closest thing to advertising that I've ever done. It won third in the world for spirituality and philosophy with readers' favorite. It beat out Hay House, all of the Simon and Schuster, all the big publishers, celebrities, New York Times best-selling authors. This little book beat them all out, and it's self-published with Freedom Masters Publishing House. So I'm pretty proud of it. Anyways, okay, so I wanted to actually read from an excerpt of it because I think this is pretty powerful. It's talking about, so it's talking about the black void. Now, the black void was a really interesting thing. It was an interesting time in my life. Actually, it was during my first near-death experience in 1992, and I had just had a battle with the devil. And I thought that I had won and I was done, and I laid back on the bed, and all of a sudden I looked up and holy shit, this black mist was coming down from the ceiling and going down the walls, and it was starting to surround me, and I freaked. I thought, it's back! Oh no! I joke about it now, but at the time I really was sincerely freaking out. And I heard a voice say, just relax. It's all good. And this booming voice, it wasn't gentle like that. It was like, just relax, and no worries, something to that effect. So anyways, this black void engulfed me. It surrounded me, and all of a sudden I'm floating in this blackness, and I couldn't see my body anymore. I could put my hand to my face and I couldn't see it. I realized it was my conscience that was floating in this black void. I had no body. It was just me and this point in time. Well, it turned out, I'll share with you what it actually was. The black void was absolutely beautiful. You know how they talk about the level of love that is in the white void, which we know as heaven? Well, when you think of the black void, think of the same thing. The level of love is incredible. And so as I was in this black void, I went, actually, black void, that's familiar. And I started to think about it, and then I remembered our spiritual elders being native, right? Our spiritual elders, they had shared with us that Raven is the gatekeeper of the black void. And I remember thinking, whoa, so this is the black void, and Raven is the gatekeeper of it. So what is the black void then? And then it was shown to me. Okay, so there were many waves of energy. It was like floating in this black oil slick. Like I could see a bit of a shimmer of light. And as my thoughts would leave me, there was no voice, but for me. Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. I could hear my voice in my head, but it was all telepathic. And so the voice would leave me and it would go across, this endless ocean to the horizon. And then all of a sudden the horizon would start to pick up and these waves would come back towards me and they'd wash over me ever so gently and they'd wash through me. And when it washed through me, I would have the answer to whatever question I was asking. And so I started to call it waves of wisdom. These waves of wisdom would come back at me and wash through me, and it would have a conversation with me. But simultaneously, I was also hearing a voice, and it was a male voice, very kind, very loving. And I believe it was either Creator or perhaps the elder from the Council of Men who I had met, in my second near-death experience. But I think it might have been the elder at that time that was already speaking to me in that life, in that near-death experience. Okay, so I said page 64 of the 5 Lessons of Life. With the third wave of energy now coming, I understood the black void was in fact time. Not time as we know it, but it's in its authentic energetic form. I saw that by giving up and resting completely, I could play with time and wish it to be whatever I desired. So that was really neat. As soon as I was struggling at first, I was like freaking out. And the moment I started to breathe and relax and let go, that's when I realized, wow, I can actually play with this whole experience. And I don't want to say manipulate, but we call it manifestation, but I saw it more that you can create, you can manipulate this energy to be whatever it is that you desire. It's very easy. I could play with time and wish it to be whatever I desired. I could get back on my path and make up for lost time, so to speak. I could live the life that I was meant to live here on earth, and it all begins in the black void with both a new projected and protected thought. You see, incredibly, I was incapable of having a negative thought in the black void. Out of habit, I'd actually make several attempts to think destructive thoughts. Suddenly, but to my surprise, they were stopped in their tracks. Suddenly, I was given the insight of how our thoughts were perhaps our greatest tool, and how they are likely the answer to everything that we've been searching for. I actually had the thought, so is this the Holy Grail? Our thoughts? Is this how everything begins and ends and is in between, is through the power of our thoughts? It's really a beautiful thought. Could our thoughts actually be the Holy Grail, providing us with infinite happiness, abundance, eternal youth, and sustenance? I was beginning to think so. The voice in the black void, who I believed to be that of divine spirit or creator, then showed me the magic and power of our thoughts. He demonstrated this through a series of rolling images in my mind. I heard the voice explain that when we combine a thought with a desire, it sparks and lights up inside of us because we feel it, right? It's that feeling nature is the key. Our thoughts then actually project outside of our bodies like a movie. These mind movies display outwardly, and can be picked up by everyone else's subconscious and conscious minds. Others can see what you are feeling and thinking. Can you imagine? In essence, our thoughts become our calling cards and invitations for others to respond to. Wow. Did you just hear that? Our thoughts project outside of ourselves, right? And they become our calling cards and our invitation for others to respond to. So if your thought is habitually negative, you are going to attract people that will want to respond to that habitually negative monologue. And they will then solidify, see, I told you the world was crappy, blah, 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 because this is what you will attract. And the reason why you're attracting it is because it's actually projecting out as a third eye projection. I did have this experience on my first date with my first husband. I've had 2 husbands now, and I'm sticking with the last one. Anyways, we never know though, do we? But right now, really, really happy. Okay, so the first husband, he and I were on our first date, and we were walking around Stanley Park, and as we were walking, he had a random thought that was nothing to do with what we were just speaking about. But miraculously, I looked over at him, and I think because the level of love and trust between us already, it was like finding my kindred spirit. My God, I had been searching so long for this man. And thank God I finally found him, and he felt the same way. It was magical. And so we had this level of love instantly that was off the charts. And through his third eye, I could see a projection, and it came out cone-shaped, right? And at the end of it was like a movie being played. It was like in the old movie theaters, right? Where, the projector would be behind us, and through that little window, it would project out onto the screen, if you remember. And people would smoke in the movie theaters, so it would light up that light that was coming out in a cone shape. That's exactly what I saw in his third eye. And I didn't realize it at the time that is a calling card. That is an invitation for people to respond. So, when you have that kind of relationship that you finish their sentence and they finish your sentence, it's telepathic, yes, but it is also that on some level, a subconscious level, you're able to see their projection, and they're able to see your projection. So, you are projecting your thoughts. And in the black void, as hard as I tried to have negative thoughts. They were totally protected. And so in that realm, you're able to create whatever it is that you desire without the interference of any negative thoughts. It was really quite beautiful. Okay, so the voice went on. He demonstrated through, a couple of series of images that were rolling in my mind. I heard the voice explain that when we combine, the desire and thoughts, poof, it ignites out. I then saw this process apply in both positive and negative thoughts. Because if you have a negative thought and you're applying emotions to it in the feeling nature, it will project out of you as well as a positive thought, right? I was shown the example that if you're thinking about finding your perfect job or mate, or more focused on joy-filled thoughts combined with positive emotions, the faster you'll find your match, otherwise known as corresponding experience. So the stronger the emotions, the stronger that you're feeling it, the faster you will attract your corresponding thought, because you're broadcasting live out there every single thought, right? And if you're really positive in your thought, people can see it. You've experienced this. You've looked at a person and gone, wow, they just glow. Well, they're glowing because they have mastered their thought process. You see? And the same is equal to that of negative thinking and manifesting drama and trauma in your life. What you think will attract to you like a magnet. And what you create in your life all depends on the thought movie that you are projecting outwardly. I realized I was witnessing the mechanics of the law of attraction. I'm going to skip a little bit here. So the black void's waves of wisdom, this is how I saw it, right? The thoughts would come back and they'd wash over me. So the black void's waves of wisdom continued sharing even more downloads with me. They said, in the beginning, it may be challenging for you to release empowering thoughts, but over time, it'll get easier. The best thing to do if a thought catches your attention and feels unkind or harmful in any way is to ask yourself a simple question. What do you think that question is? Write it down below in the comment. The question is this a loving thought? Simply ask yourself, whoa, wait a minute, what was that thought? Is this a loving thought? If it's not, you know what to do. If your thought isn't loving, then throw it in the cosmic garbage can. So you gather that thought out of your mouth, out of your nose, out of your eyes, out of your mind. Gather that thought and crumple it up like it's a piece of paper and throw it in the cosmic garbage can up in the sky. Release the thought and replace it with one that is empowering and positive. Say, okay, that one's out of me. I'm bringing the light in, because whenever you take something out, it leaves a void. You got to fill it up with that light. Fill it up with that light. Feel beautiful. Woohoo! Ask yourself, is this a loving thought? If it's not, put it in the cosmic garbage can, replace it. I then saw an image of me having fun playing basketball with my thoughts. I'd crumple up the negative thought and toss it into the cosmic garbage can. God would then collect all the debris and transform my negative thoughts into such beauty. I saw myself cheering and giving myself 2 points, screaming, yes, woohoo, I did it. And I'd dance around celebrating in my mind's eye. I have fun in my thoughts. It was clear I was taking my first steps in letting go of habitual negative thinking. The voice then said, the key is to not settle for mediocrity. Keep searching for the best possible thought, and then ask yourself, is this the best possible thought I can have right now? Right? So you ask the first question, is this a loving thought? And then replace it with a more empowering thought, and consciously, right? And then ask again, as soon as you have that thought, is this the best thought that I can possibly have right now? If it isn't, crumple that one up, throw it into the garbage can, repeat the steps over again until you can answer, yes, this thought feels really good. It's quite simple, isn't it? He continued, this cycle of bettering your thoughts can go on until you find yourself vibrating with excitement. Soon you'll have such confidence and you'll find that you'll be filled with images of infinite possibilities. It's incredible, I thought to myself. All this by simply asking myself 2 simple questions. Is this a loving thought? And is this the best possible thought I can think of right now? And then following through until the feeling inside is elevated. So this is how we raise our vibration. So many people have been writing me and coming as clients and saying, my thoughts, they're just so, I don't like my sister, I don't like my mom, I don't like my dad, whatever it may be. I simply bring them into another timeline and we create new thoughts. We create a new way of looking at life. And the moment that you do that, you actually free yourself and you open up, forgive me, you open up to possibilities. You open up to who you truly are and where your life is meant to be and meant to go to. So I invite you today to practice for the next 3 days. This is your homework. Okay, what's your homework? The next 3 days, you are going to practice positive thinking. Imagine that you're in the black void and you cannot have any negative thoughts. The moment you have a negative thought, you go, oh, I'm stopping that right now. I'm gathering it up and I'm throwing it in the cosmic garbage can. Okay? And let it go. It's as simple as that. And then replace it was something that is really beautiful. And remember, the moment that you release and let go, play with it, have fun. You're a basketball player now. You're, in the NBA, you're dodging and you're running around, you're throwing those thoughts away, right? And then bring in the light. This is the key. You got to bring in that beautiful light and really empower yourself. Okay? It's as simple as that. So, the two questions. Is this a loving thought? Is this the best thought that I can possibly have right now? Those are the keys to your future. I swear, you do this for the next 3 days. 3 days. That's it. You will change your life completely. Catch your thinking and monitor it. Make sure that it is positive. They talk about David and Goliath. Did he go in to fight Goliath and was his dialogue, well, I hope that I beat him? No, he was like, today, dear Lord, you are serving me, him on the platter or whatever it was. I can't remember the words, but it was something to do with today is the day. I will conquer Goliath. It's done. It's already done. He knew the outcome going in. So what outcome do you desire? And know the outcome before you even begin. That's the key. Much love to you, everyone. I want you to make sure that you subscribe and like this video, share it, share. And also go to carriekohan.com. Now on carriekohan.com, I have a free gift for you. It is a financial success hypnotic MP3 recording. I did this recording a couple of years ago when I was living in Portugal full time. And I was having troubles because I was separated and I was in a lot of debt, and I had an interesting time. And so I thought, okay, I've got to turn this around, dear Lord. What do I need to do? And I heard, use the tools that you already have. Hello. God didn't say hello, but it was me going, hello, come on now, girl, you know what to do. And so that's what I did. I made a recording in my phone, not a professional recording, but it was a series of affirmations. And I listened to that 2-3 times a day. It was actually about 3 times a day. And it didn't take long. And my gosh, I turned my entire business, my entire life around completely. Today, I am back. I'm solvent. I'm back with my husband. Life is really great. We're renting a beautiful place here in the UK, and I have my place in Portugal. So life it's pretty darn good. Oh, and I'm renting a place in Canada still. So I'm traveling. I'm doing my workshops in 3 different countries, and I hope to see you in one of those countries. Just go to carriekohan.com. You'll see all the workshops and you'll be able to get your free gift, okay? And also make sure to like and subscribe, because I'm not monetized here, but I sure would like to be someday. And so if we can grow the subscriptions, maybe they'll actually allow me to be monetized. I think we're going that way, actually. I think social media is going to change completely. Hallelujah. That's another positive thought, isn't it? That's my thought. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now that social media has freedom of speech again. Oh, so excited. Much love to everyone. We'll chat soon. Bye now.